What's up guys, welcome back to HMHT. My name is Ben, your host, and today we finally have the long awaited macOS version, and it's macOS 12 Monterey. Who would have known that they would name this version Monterey? So as a small fact, Monterey is a small town in Western California, and I guess Apple, since they are based outside, they decided to name this Monterey. Now, in order to update to macOS 12 Monterey, these are the supported devices. So for the iMac, you need a 2015 and later, and then for the iMac Pro, you need 2017 and later. For the MacBook Air, you need 2015 and later. For the MacBook Pro, you need 2015 and later. That's the same. And also for the Mac Pro, you need 2013 and later. And for the Mac Mini, you need a 2014 or newer. And for the MacBook, you need a early 2016 and later. So those are the supported devices, and if you have any of those devices, you can easily update to macOS 12 Monterey. So for me, on my 2016 15-inch MVP, I tried to update multiple times over the air using the developer profile. So the first two attempts failed, and after restarting my device like 2 or 3 times, it finally accepted. And at one time during the update, I had an error that said software update failed from Apple. So I just restarted again and it worked. And the update size for me came in at 11.78 gigs, so it was quite substantial, and I was updating from macOS 11.5. Now, if we head over to see the build number that came with this update, you can see the new build number that we have, 21A5248P. So this build number has a P at the end, and in terms of stability, unless you know what you're doing, this is not an update that you'd want to update to. Now, if we go into the system also to see the storage being taken up, you can see the new system storage being taken up, which is 16.68, slightly larger than what I had on 11.5, but not by much, maybe by 40 MBs. Now let's go on and talk about the new features and changes that came with macOS 12 Monterey. So the first one, as you can see here, you have the new wallpaper. It's just one, and it's this purplish wallpaper that you are seeing here that I have on my desktop. If you want to check it out once you update, you can easily go into your system preferences and change it out. And the second change that you might have probably noticed has to do with the system preferences, or the storage being taken up by the system. So before, it used to say system, and now it has been changed to macOS. So that is just the storage being taken up by the macOS, in this case 12 Monterey. Another change, since we are in the system preferences or the settings of this Mac, if we go to the battery section, you can see that we now have a new option, and it's low power mode in the battery settings. So that is something that is new. And also, if you were to power off your device and log in, you now have a Memoji login page, unlike before. So that is something that's good. So there have been certain apps that have been updated extensively, some more than others. And the first one that I want to highlight has to do with FaceTime. So you now have more natural and lifelike audio by means of spatial audio, and voices spread out depending on the direction of where the person is speaking on the screen. So if you have like a grid view, then the voice or the audio sort of, comes from that direction, which is something that's good. And you have voice solutions with wide spectrum for everything, which is something that's great. And in FaceTime, you also get the group FaceTime in grid view or in portrait mode, where it isolates the subject. FaceTime links can also be shared in messages or sent to a calendar, or even share with someone who uses a third-party device like an Android or a Windows, and they can easily click on the link and you'll be able to start that FaceTime meeting. And that's something that's good, and it's actually major that FaceTime is now supported on all these devices. They don't have to download FaceTime or install FaceTime. They just have to click on the link. And since this is Apple and they are highly when it comes to privacy, so the link or the meeting or whatever FaceTime you want to carry on is encrypted, so no one can read your data, and not even Apple, from what they mentioned at WWDC. Also with FaceTime, you have the ability to share play, where you can listen together or watch together, a screen share, and API for developers where they can share and work on projects together. So this is more of a collaborative update, and it's one of the major updates that FaceTime has seen, and since we are in the COVID time, this is something that's going to be very helpful. Now, the next app that has been updated too, similar to FaceTime, has to do with messages. So you can now group photos within the messages app and swipe them, and you can also share like a news article in messages, or if you have a song within the Apple Music app that you would like to share, you can do that. And also, if you have like a good podcast that you want to share to a friend or someone, you can share the link in messages now directly from those applications like the music app, Safari, or podcast, which is something that's good. And also, notifications have been updated with macOS 12 Monterey, so you have larger icons that pop out a little bit more in order to try and put across which application the notification comes from. So you get notification summary schedule in settings, and you can always schedule your notification to deliver at a specific time, and do not disturb status indicator to other messages can be set independently. That is something that's good. So since we talked about do not disturb, that has sort of been rebranded. So do not disturb received some update, and you now have focus, and the functionality of focus is to try and allow notification for work, for school, or for friends or family to deliver or give you a time to focus on what you would have set. You can always create a custom focus activity that you want to engage in, and focus is synchronized on all your devices. So if you set focus, let's say to focus to watch some movies with friends, all your activities are synchronized on the iPhone, on the iPad, and on the Apple Watch. With macOS 12 and alongside iPadOS 15, you have an option for quick notes. I couldn't activate it on my Intel Mac. Perhaps this is something that came to Apple Silicon Macs, but if you go in the bottom right section of your Mac, you can actually be able to get a pop-up and write a quick note, and you can always like minimize it or put it anywhere across your screen. So I couldn't activate it. This is something that you can always check out on your device. After updating, you're going to see a notification that says welcome to MacBook Pro, what you need to know to get started. So that's also something that I noticed that's a bit new with this update that I didn't see previously. And the update still continues when it comes to different applications. So the Photos app has also been updated. You can search for photos in the Spotlight search now, and you can search for certain photos using hashtags. So if you have an hashtag photo that you have put in your iPhone, you can easily find it on the Mac by going into the Photos app. And also, if you create memories and visit different places, you can create a better array of these activities, which is something that's good. Now, when it comes to the weather app or the weather widget, when it comes to the widgets, I noticed that you can't actually drag them and take them across your screen still with macOS 12 Monterey. I don't know if Apple is even going to pull this off, since it's something that has always been there on Windows, but so you have more parameters to measure like UV, wind, and so on, and the intensity that is displayed by the widget is sort of reminiscent to what would be taking place. When it comes to navigation, in this case we're talking about the Apple Maps website. So US, UK, Canada, Italy, Australia, Spain, and a few others have got the new Apple Maps update, which means you can have that look around And also you have more commercial districts and elevation. You also get cycling directions in more regions unlike before, but this is still spreading out. And that's not all, you also get nighttime mode for maps, and you also get to see like crosswalks, bike lanes in 3D as you do your navigation. These are capabilities that aren't yet fully here in maps, but in future these are going to be added. And also all these are going to be coming to CarPlay, so if you link your device to your car as you drive, you can see and operate all these features. And also you get better transit customization to tell you, like for example, if you're taking a ride and your bus stop or your stop zone is fast approaching, you can sort of get a notification that you are about to reach your bus stop, which is something that's good. And you get 3D improved navigation, which is something that's fantastic. So since Apple made some updates to AirPods, Spatial Audio comes to tvOS with dynamic head tracking, and also coming to the Apple Silicon M1 Max. And also you get Spatial Audio when you are paired with the AirPods Pro, which is something that's great. When it comes to privacy, Apple really takes privacy quite serious, and privacy is a human right. So they've made some updates when it comes to the mail. So mail privacy protection now hides your IP addresses, and you can always go into your settings and be able to turn this on. And also Safari prevents tracking in settings when privacy is turned on, and you have better ways to manage and see who's tracking and sharing your privacy. And also when it comes to Siri, on-device speech recognition avoids unwanted voice tracking. And they also mentioned something that has to do with being able to use Siri without an internet connection to do minimal in-house tasks. So that's something that I'm going to be testing out fully with time. And also you can open photos and also wake up your Mac and do quite a number of things just using Siri. iCloud has also been updated on the Mac, so you get account recovery for family and friends. And what this means is that if you forget your password, you can call up your friends or your family and get that password. This is something that you have to set up fully, and you can also add people to your iCloud for legacy, so that just in case, you know, life is too short, just in case if anything is to happen to you and you were like to pass away, they can be contacted. And you also get better file management within iCloud. And Apple mentioned a new, it's not sort of new because it's the same pricing, but it's iCloud Plus, a service that Apple has mentioned that's going to be coming. It uses private relays to make sure that the traffic leaving your devices or your iCloud traffic is encrypted as it synchronizes from one device to another, or if you decide to share it with someone. So you can easily go into your system preferences and be able to go to your iCloud and see this private relay. And you also have the option to hide my email for unique random emails for forms online, so that no one has your actual email and just a random generated email is used. And you have built-in support for home security, which is good for iCloud since this is also carried over to all your devices. Now, when it comes to the Home app, there've also been some minor changes. So within the Home app, if you have set it up and have connected devices and have friends and connected colleagues, you can see shared movies that your friends are sharing or that they want to share with you. And you can also use your HomePod Mini as a speaker for audio. And lossless audio for the HomePod is now available in Australia and Ireland, in addition to the other previous countries the way it was available. That is something that's good. And since now Siri for the first time gets third-party accessories support, so you can have like an intercom, you can have like a temperature control sensor or something like that that uses Siri, where you can just use your voice and be able to make adjustment, which is something that's great. There's also mention of continuity and universal continuity from moving between your Mac and iPad while using Keynote, and you can use your keyboard for commands that are going to take place on the iPad, like Command C for copy and Command whatever X to cut, while you are using the keyboard attached to your Mac, which is something that's great. Now when it comes to Airplay, there's also some updates. So now you can Airplay to Mac while using any of your other Apple devices, which is something that's good. And also when it comes to command line, it has been updated for simplified commands. You don't have to make like a flowchart of commands. Now it's more of like plain text commands, so that is something that's good. There's another app that has also been moved over to Mac, which is the shortcuts app. So now you can ask Siri to run certain shortcuts, and Automator can be imported to the shortcuts app, and you can create your custom shortcuts within the shortcuts app. Now when it comes to Safari did receive quite a number of updates, and I gotta say that most of these updates are substantial. And when you open Safari for the first time, you're going to see what's new in Safari. So you have tab groups, and it says save and organize your tabs in the way that works best for you. That's tab group. And you also have new privacy protection. Intelligent tracking prevention now also prevents non-trackers from viewing your IP address, and you have streamlined tab bar, and you also have quick notes. So that's just a brief description, but with Safari the toolbar has been redesigned, and the tab section has been redesigned and is more independent, and also tabs take color of the page that you are visiting. So if you visit a page that has a red background, it becomes red. If it has purple or something like that, it takes the color of the page. And you can create a new tab group when you're working on something, like let's say for example you're planning a trip and booking like flights and are also doing research. You can put all that in a tab group, and you can either share it with friends, or you can visit that same tab group at a later date. Also, you get better customization on iPhone and Mac, and web extensions on iPad and iOS are better and can sort of be seamed over across different platforms, which is something that I'm curious and going to be testing out fully in the coming few weeks. Now, when it comes to developer features and technologies, there have been updates to API, to Swift, and to App Store. So you can always see this at the front page of the App Store. If you have an App Store widget on your devices, this is something that's going to show up, and also it portrays on the front page. That is something that's good. And lastly, something else that's going to be coming, it's here but in limited quantities or capabilities, has to do with Xcode Cloud. So prices for Xcode Cloud are going to be revealed next year, and right now there is limited beta testing out to selected individuals and companies. So with Xcode Cloud, you'll be able to automatically run tests in parallel and allow for better teamwork, collaboration. Since this is in the cloud, it can easily be shared, and also test flight that allows others to test your apps on the iPhone and iPad is now available on the Mac. So as you can see, there's a new ton of features and changes that came to macOS 12 Monterey, and this is just a quick video that I had to make for the family here on YouTube, and I'll be doing more videos in future, so make sure you're subscribed and stick around for the content. Now, other than that, that's about it for me. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video.